Final Fantasy VII, which I really think is the most perfect game in the series. I am just going to go with a recent masterpiece, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Well, for one, the game is almost just as good as 6, and you can actually play it in 2024. This game serves as the perfect entry point for newbies who are just getting into the game, while also retaining the classic gameplay that millions of fans have come to love over the years. The remake not only improves the graphics, it also fills some of the gaps in the original, and dives deeper into the lives and backgrounds of the characters to add more context. Even if you have played the original game, you need to play this remake. It doesn't just rehash the original story, but enhances it with new story arcs and surprises that are worth exploring.
There's one! Get him!
See ya. Enough.
Witcher 3. This game is an absolute masterpiece, and every time I boot it up, I'm reminded why I love it so much. The narrative is phenomenal, with Geralt's journey to find Ciri being compelling, emotional, and filled with impactful choices. There's hardly a moment in this game that you could complain about. It's that good. Witcher 3 also has one of the best game worlds I've ever seen. It feels alive and jam-packed with detail that you can spend hours exploring, admiring, and stumbling upon hidden treasures and secrets. Combat in The Witcher 3 is another area where the game shines. It's intense and super challenging, especially for a newbie, as it requires you to use a mix of swordplay, magic, and alchemy to defeat your enemies. Speaking of enemies, Witcher 3 features a wide variety of monsters and beasts that make every fight different from the last. If you love RPGs, you've got to give this one a shot. Breath of the Wild is nothing short of a revolutionary experience in open-world gaming that has inspired a ton of other games throughout the years. This game doesn't dictate how you should play or tackle the challenges. It gives you total freedom to do things at your own pace. You can explore every part of its vast world, climb mountains, approach quests in countless different ways, or take on enemies that stand in your way. Breath of the Wild is a masterclass in game design, where every element comes together to create a truly crafted experience. One of its standout features is the climbing mechanic, which transforms every surface into an opportunity for exploration. This, combined with the game's abundant vertical features, makes the world feel rich and full of adventure. Breath of the Wild, whose brilliance lies not in a single revolutionary element, but in the thoughtful integration of various well-crafted components. The paraglider, the climbing, and the expansive vertical terrain each contribute to the game's unique charm.
We'll make it! Oh no! The tower!
Plague Tale: Innocence, that I think deserves some more spotlight. So I am going to include both Innocence and the more recent Requiem to the list. Both of these games are amazing, and I've never had a similar experience in any other game. The emotional story, the bond between the siblings, and the journey of survival through a plague-ridden world is simply brilliant. It's filled with moments of tension, heartbreak, and genuine love that keeps you hooked from start to finish. And it only becomes better with a hauntingly gorgeous world and impressive sound design that creeps you up with a sense of dread and urgency. This series offers a perfect blend of stealth, puzzle solving, and narrative-driven action that stays with you long after you've finished playing.
You have no right to be here! Remy, you handle it! And don't disappoint me!
But the boy,
He's the right age to learn.
you shouldn't have come.
You don't want to do this, believe me.
You talk too much.
even a decade after its release. Deus Ex: Human Revolution remains a masterpiece in gaming. It offers everything you'd expect from a Deus Ex game, sneaking past guards, choosing lethal or non-lethal approaches, and navigating through base to reach objectives. Each level is intricately designed with multiple ways to proceed, featuring dozens of computers to hack for codes, secret item stashes, and plot details, all while incorporating optional shortcuts accessible through ability upgrades. It's immensely satisfying to use a newly unlocked cloaking shield to sneak past a room full of guards, then leap to a higher platform with leg enhancements just before the cloak wears off, and finally punch through a wall for quick escape. Alternatively, you can invest upgrade points into health inventory capacity and treat the game more like a shooter. While not as satisfying as a modern FPS, it still feels solid, especially as you upgrade your guns or use other augmentations to gain high ground or flank enemies. While cloaked, the game masterfully blends various gameplay systems, making them feel cohesive and balanced, with no element noticeably weaker than the others.
Bye, asshole!
I have played loads and loads of video games over the years, but Mass Effect series is probably the only game that made me want to cry with its emotionally moving story and unforgettable characters. Okay, maybe not the only game, but yeah, to me, it's more than just a game. It's a story that unfolds differently for every player. Depending on your choices, your decisions impact everything from major plot points to the fates of individual characters, creating a truly personalized experience. There's a good chance you have played the whole series, but if you haven't and you want to, you should do yourself a favor and get the Legendary Edition. It brings back Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 to both new and old fans, with enhanced visuals, refined gameplay, and all the beloved elements that made the original trilogy a storytelling masterpiece. I've never played a game with a story more compelling and the ending more satisfying than this. And emotional, too. Shadow of the Colossus is often hailed as a masterpiece in the gaming world for its unique blend of minimalist storytelling, breathtaking visuals, and innovative gameplay. Released on the PlayStation 2 in 2005 and later remastered, the game tells the poignant tale of Wander, a young man who ventures into a forbidden land to revive a girl named Mono by defeating 16 colossal beings. The gameplay focuses on epic battles against these colossi, each a puzzle requiring unique strategies, which fosters a sense of exploration and creativity. The game's stunning visuals and hauntingly beautiful world create an immersive atmosphere that draws players in. Its sparse narrative and emotional depth evoke a range of feelings, leaving players reflecting on the moral complexities of Wander's quest. Shadow of the Colossus transcends traditional gaming, standing as a testament to video games as a profound medium for storytelling and artistic expression. Bioshock doesn't necessarily reinvent the wheel when it comes to gameplay. I mean, yeah, the gunplay is fun and challenging, but the storytelling and the morality system is where this game shines the brightest. Bioshock constantly throws in twists and turns that keep you curious while pushing you to make some really tough moral choices that pave the path for your journey. For an FPS game, Bioshock features a world that is nothing short of a marvel. Every corner of the world, whether it's graffiti on the wall or remnants of desperate survivors, everything tells a story about the city and its residents. Bioshock is also quite creative with its gunplay. You can electrocute enemies in water, set traps with fire, or unleash a swarm of bees. Each encounter can be approached in multiple ways, allowing you to strategize however you want. Of course, I had to include Red Dead Redemption 2, probably the most perfect game I've ever played. This game has everything that one could ever wish for. The story, the visuals, the gameplay, everything is top-notch, and that's just scratching the surface, really, because this game goes the extra mile without making it too obvious. I mean, I've hardly seen games with a world that evolves on its own even when you are not around. NPCs have a lot of routine that realistically follow, whether it actually affects the environment, the NPCs, and even the wildlife creatures. It's really all these smaller details that make RDR2 the most perfect game ever. Now, I am sure most of you have already played this game, but if you still haven't, you are missing out on a gem here.
One of you fellas better.
Elden Ring. This game does everything right. For one, it doesn't force you to do anything. You are free to explore the vast open world, take on bosses, or finish the whole storyline without ever facing any of them. Then you have this exciting open world that, despite its massive size, never feels empty or uninteresting. You are either busy admiring its gorgeous landscapes, discovering areas with secrets and lore, or galloping around the world on your horse. Elden Ring even has more build variety, and just more of everything compared to other Souls-likes, and it's also comparatively fair for newbies to get into this genre. If that doesn't make Elden Ring perfect, I don't know what will.
I command thee, kneel! I am the Lord of all that is golden.
Resident Evil 4, Remake. This remake of the cult classic horror game not only does justice to the OG title by retaining the gameplay and narrative, but also makes it better in many ways. It adds a ton of improvements to gameplay visuals. It even fills some of the gaps to give the story and characters more depth. Now, what really makes Resident Evil 4 a true masterpiece for me is how perfectly it balances both the action and horror elements. The combat in this game is super satisfying, especially with the improved controls that feel much more responsive. I could go on and on about its inventory loot system, enemy AI, and combat, but I really want you to try it out yourself to experience the best of the survival horror genre. Baldur's Gate 3 is like this incredible mix of everything that's great about games like Witcher, Skyrim, Dragon Age, and Mass Effect. This game heavily leans on player choices and narrative depth. You can be anyone you like, do whatever you want, explore complex relationships, make friends, or engage in intense turn-based battles. And you do all of that using D&D's awesome dice roll mechanics, which does take a while to get used to. If you are new, trust me, I've been there, but once you understand how the system works, you will find it super rewarding. I still remember constantly asking myself, what if I choose to go with other options? How would it impact the story or my relationships? And that curiosity made me go back to the game a ton of times. Plus, the characters in this game have so much depth and personality, which makes you want to get to know them better. All these things come together to make Baldur's Gate 3 a true 10 out of 10 game.
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade and suffer its sting.
Persona 5. This game, you play as a young boy who lives a dual life, a high school student by day and a monster hunter by night. Now, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what makes Persona 5 so good. I mean, the sheer size of content in this game is simply mind-blowing. The whole world is filled to the brim with activities, side quests, mini-games, unexpected surprises, and a cast of colorful characters. But for me, what really makes Persona so fun is the social simulation aspect, where you can build relationships with these characters, each with their own stories, personalities and abilities that influence your journey, and don't even get me started with the combat. It's a tactical masterpiece that is equal parts thrilling and challenging. I can put on this list like Days Gone or The Last of Us. I am gonna go with the latter, due to its brilliant storytelling and equally thrilling action. I mean, Days Gone is awesome, there's no doubt about that, but The Last of Us is much more of a package deal. It's got an amazing story, memorable characters, a perfect combination of stealth and action, and brilliant voice acting. One of the things that I love about The Last of Us is that it doesn't force you to take any single approach. You can decide to go lethal or non-lethal, and both are quite fun. But at the end of the day, it's the heart-wrenching story that makes this game so darn good. I don't know about you guys, but God of War is my favorite 10 out of 10 game on this list. It's a masterclass in game design, storytelling, character development, and of course, combat. Right from the moment you step into this game, you get hooked on the game's story as it explores the relationship between Kratos and his son in a realistic way. There are only a handful of games with characters so grounded in reality and full of personality, which makes it easy for players to relate to them. While I am not a father, there were so many moments that made me feel whatever Kratos was feeling. Besides that, I really love God of War's combat more than any other game. It's fast-paced, brutal, and highly challenging, especially the boss fights. They really keep you on your toes as you try to come up with different strategies on the fly. Ever since I finished this game, I haven't stopped yapping about it to my friends.
Fine. My turn.